what would another $1,000 do for you? What about just $500 or even $300? Well, according to a study that was done just recently, if the average American family received just $500, it would change their lives completely. And I want to explain why. And I want to address which states are actually looking into sending more stimulus to their residents. And again, it's coming from states, not the federal government. I want to explain and touch on that in just a minute. But according to this survey, it states that if the average household received an additional $500, that $500 would provide about 2 months worth of food. This $500 could also be used to help pay for rising rents. The $500 could be spent on buying medicine that is greatly needed. Or, there's another option, it could be saved for a short period of time until this winter gets here, when experts anticipate energy bills are going to jump even more. So again, it's just $500. Now, why do I bring this up? First off, I bring this up because more states and more governors are actually looking into ways to provide additional funding and stimulus or relief to their residents. Now, whether the relief is a physical stimulus check, or it's a tax cut or a rebate or some other form of relief, that doesn't really matter. What matters is putting more money back into their residents' pockets. Now, I've been saying this for quite a while. And honestly, I know a lot of people are getting tired of hearing it because they want to see that a stimulus check is coming. And we get a lot of people here on YouTube and on TikTok and Instagram, and there's websites that do it too. But they are claiming there's a stimulus check coming. There's a $1,000 check coming. There's a $2,000 check coming. That's not necessarily true for every single American. It is maybe true for a small group of people in specific states, but as far as the federal government sending and issuing another stimulus check, right now, especially to the majority of Americans, it is highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely because right now, all we've seen as far as relief is a little bit for climate, but the relief is only coming to those that are willing to spend money on solar and on electric vehicles, right? There's some help coming for those that are paying for prescription drugs, and there's some, the costs are going to come down a little bit. There's going to be a cap on your expenses, but that's not coming till 2025. But the likelihood of a stimulus check coming in 2022 is pretty much zero. The likelihood of a stimulus check coming in 2023 from the federal government is very small as well. But there is more stimulus payments coming. They will be coming from specific states though. We have seen states like Oregon provide a $600 stimulus check. California residents, they're going to get another check up to $1,050 per household. That's another big one because guess what? California, they have a surplus. We know Governor Wolf out of Pennsylvania wants to use $500 million of the state's $15 billion budget to actually provide $2,000 per household if you make less than $80,000 per year. We also know Montana lawmakers, they were considering a special session, or they technically still are, sometime in September, to give $1,000 rebates to property owners. And just the other day, we saw Missouri's legislation, they want to pass $500 million as part of their plan to send a one-time tax refund to millions of households. However, the Republican governor actually vetoed this bill because he said he wants a bigger and longer lasting tax cut. So we'll see what happens there. Again, that just happened the other day, so we got a lot of room to kind of mess around with that, because again, we are now coming into the fall where chances are, and I hate to say this, but chances are utility payments are going to go up, rents continue to rise, and well, our money's going to go not as far as it used to. And then we even heard from Arkansas recently, because Arkansas recently approved an income tax rate reduction, and the purpose behind this was because Arkansas's governor wants to transfer that $500 million from the state's government to the taxpayer. Again, it's going to help. This is their form of relief. So again, just understand, stimulus is coming, but it might not be in the form of a stimulus check. It might be in the form of a tax rate reduction. Might be in the form of a decrease. Right? A lot of things can happen here. But here's what is likely coming for many states. Okay. Currently, Democrats have been in favor of short-term tax cuts, at least to help out Americans and keep more money in their bank accounts for the time being to really combat the high prices. But Republicans, they don't agree on the short-term tax cuts. What they want is they want longer-term tax cuts and they want rate reductions. That's what they want. However, according to a few economists, they're saying that long-term tax cuts would actually hinder the state and it would hurt them in the long run. So that's possibly not the best move. But again, we will see. But I want to address really what's happening here. Because the key to all these tax cuts and rate reductions and stimulus checks, payments, tax rebates, whatever you want to call it, is the simple fact that most states are seeing a record number of surpluses over the past year. For example, California, they have seen the largest surplus this past year. They have a $97 billion surplus. And some of that money has to go back to the residents. This is why they're sending out these stimulus checks. So for people that are wondering, well, why is California sending out all these checks? It's because California is also the one taking in the most money from their residents just in taxes. That's the reason why. So essentially, is California getting more? No. Their residents are actually getting less, but they're getting taxed more. They're getting paid back some from a stimulus surplus. And so really they're still coming in below everyone else across the United States. But again, that's only one state. Other states have been following suit with California as well. For example, we got Georgia, Indiana, Idaho, and is it North Carolina? I believe it's South Carolina has also followed suit right behind California. So again, this is nothing new. But keep this in mind. As far as that $350 billion from the pandemic assistance, right, from the American Rescue Plan, that $350 billion, which I believe is like $195 billion went to states, went to all the states combined. I believe that money, okay, again, there's a lot of still left. I think the last report that I saw, there was still like 30% of that money is still there to be used. 30%. So of like let's say just $180 billion, that means about $60 billion amongst the 50 states is still there. Still there. That means that we could be using some of this money. But keep this in mind. States do not have to spend this money right now. States have until the end of 2024, till December 31st at 11:59 p.m. on in 2024. So right before 2025, that is how long states have to spend this money before it has to go back to the Treasury. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are wondering, well, why are states just sitting on the money? They're sitting on the money to figure out what is the best use of the money. What's going to get especially right now when we are technically in a recession, right? But yet the federal government says we're not in a recession. They say they have inflation under control, but yet many economists say no, they don't. It's not even close. It's actually just a smokescreen. So that's the reason why we're seeing so many states kind of hold off on sending more stimulus checks to the residents because, well, if we do dip into a recession, if we do see mass layoffs, that could be a great time for the state or the specific governor at that time to come in and use that money and be like, we got to give some money to our people that are on unemployment. Let's give them a little bit of a boost, maybe $100 extra per week, right? Something that Democrats did, something that Republicans did, and it was a bipartisan bill when the whole pandemic first hit, right? We could see all that stuff come back. But again, if If states use up all their funding and have nothing left, then there's no other option. They're pretty much just screwed. So again, this stimulus, this money that's still there, it will change your life, but you may have to wait and wait and wait for these payments. All right? So just understand, payments are going out, they have been going out, and they will go out, but it might take a little bit of time. So that's what we know at this time. As always, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update. If you could, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. Again, consider subscribing, ask your questions down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.